Hi viewers, welcome to the video series of on mental health. Today we have Dr. Rukshida with us. She's a psychiatrist and she's a psychotherapist. Celebrated speaker on mental health and has two TEDx talks to her credit. She has a thriving private practice at Lokhandwala, Mumbai, spanning over 20 years. She specializes in adolescents, young adults, women, and family. She serves as co-chair of Women's Mental Health Specialty Section of Indian Psychiatric Society. She also has a lot of academic articles and chapters and is a keen teacher. Welcome, Dr. Rukshida.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Today, we're going to discuss about how mental health patients or people who are suffering from mental health issues should have realistic goals. हालांकि मैंने एक पोस्ट देखा था उनके इंस्टाग्राम पेज पे कि हमेशा जो मेंटल हेल्थ पेशेंट्स हैं उनके लिमिट्स आई मीन उनके गोल्स रियलिस्टिक होने चाहिए. तो इसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे. तो डॉक्टर रुक्षिदा, आप कुछ इसके ऊपर शेयर कर सकते हैं कि क्या हमेशा मेंटल हेल्थ पेशेंट्स को उनके गोल्स रियलिस्टिक रखने चाहिए?
थैंक यू रश्मि और आई एम वेरी हैप्पी कि मेरा कोई एक इंस्टाग्राम पोस्ट आपको इतना अच्छा लगा और उससे बेनिफिट हुआ कि आपको लगा कि इसके बारे में हमें बात करनी चाहिए और इस जरिए से हम इतने ज्यादा लोगों से इस बारे में बात कर सकते हैं. सो लाइक यू सेड, यू नो, रियलिस्टिक गोल्स आर वेरी एसेंशियल, really important for all of us. But those of us, especially who are dealing with mental health issues or mental health disorders, it becomes a little bit more imperative. Let me explain why. If I have depression, let's say, what are the symptoms of depression? That I have ideas of hopelessness and helplessness and worthlessness. I have lack of energy. I have lack of motivation. There's an immense sense of guilt. I also sometimes feel sad apparently for no reason, and then I look for reasons to feel sad. So if I set myself up for, let's say today I wake up in the morning and I feel, oh, I am full of energy, I'm going to get 10 things done. And suppose I get only 5 to 6 things done. So instead of being able to focus on, oh, at least I got 5, 6 things done, because I have depression, my mind is going to swear to see, I couldn't even finish the 10 items on my list. I'm such a pathetic person, nothing's going to happen, this is always going to be this miserable, etc., etc. Now, on the other hand, if I have somebody with psychosis, with mania, bipolar, let's say, and if I set myself up that, oh, I'm going to achieve so much, and it's unrealistic because I may have delusions of grandeur, isn't it? And if I don't achieve all of that, then I'm going to get more irritated and upset and maybe kind of get angry. Now, that will impact not only my everyday mood, and then it'll affect my interpersonal relationships because I'm going to pick a fight with my people around. I'm going to maybe, get upset and angry and sad or isolate myself. But it can also then increase my mental illness, where I feel more dejected, and that increases my symptoms overall and my psychopathology overall. So that's why it's important for us to have very reality based goals which are achievable, which will be not only just make us feel have a sense of accomplishment for today, but also increases our optimism that, oh, I'm going to get okay and things are going to be fine and my life is good.
Yeah. Sometimes I also do feel pressurized if I have too many things to do, and if I aim for to finish all of those, I constantly feel the pressure of finishing them off. So that creates a pressure on me, and somewhere my energy level comes down, and I get in a negative mode. So this is what my experience has been. If I set very unrealistic goals. Am I right? Does it happen?
Absolutely, Rashmi. Just like you said, like I said, it's true for all of us. It's true for you and me. But especially for people, if we are going through mental health illnesses and issues, we want to be very sure that we are not increasing our problems instead of finding solutions for our problems. And whatever we want to achieve, whether that's a life goal, whether that's just a to-do list for today, it should be something that, yes, I think it's doable by me. And it's something that I can sustain, right? That, okay, if I'm doing something like this today, today, I can also do something similar, something tomorrow as well. So that's why it's important for us to have attainable goals so that we can reach our ultimate long-term goal,
Yeah.
which is, again, that's what all of us want, isn't it? Whether we're talking about studies, whether we're talking about business or a job, or even a household activity, and child rearing as such. So it's important for us to kind of keep an eye on our long-term goal and keep an eye on our ultimate goal, and then take small steps so that it becomes easier instead of more difficult to achieve that goal.
Yeah, yeah. Well said, doctor. So do we limit ourselves and say that this is only that I can achieve, and should we not go for more if we can?
Thank you. That's a very good question, because that's such an important part of everybody that who comes to me who has a mental illness.
Yes.
They and their family and relatives will ask me, "Oh, does this mean now that you're telling me this is the illness, depression, anxiety, or serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia and bipolar?" They ask me, "Does this mean that this person cannot study or cannot, get married or cannot have children?" So again, that's the reason it's very important for us to kind of address this question, that because you have a medical illness, which happens to be a psychiatric illness, you could very well have diabetes, blood pressure, thyroid, or any of these other illnesses. That does not mean that you're not you. That does not mean that you have to limit yourself, that, oh, if you're capable of achieving something, that you should give up on those dreams or goals at all. Not at all. But of course we have to have an aptitude for something. Just like if my shoe size is, let's say, 7, if I'm trying to cram it into a 5 shoe size, or a shoe of 5 is number 5, that's not going to happen at the same time. And that aptitude is such an important thing, because we all do that, right? I mean, if I'm applying for a job, I'm going to go through an aptitude test because they want to see whether I may have the qualifications for something, but do I also have the aptitude and the ability to do that job? So the same way, if I have the aptitude for something and I also have an ambition to do something and have aspirations to do something, I must go ahead and do it. I may have a mental illness, but that will not limit me beyond a certain point. And if there are something that there may be limitations, I'm going to have to speak to my doctor about it and figure out, is this something that is imperative that I not do or do? I mean, if I now have specs, I can't become a pilot now, can I? Of course, that's going to be disappointing to me, but that's not something that means that I have limitations of that sense. We also have to be very practical, pragmatic, and realistic about accepting our aptitudes and figuring out that there may be a vocation, and then there is difference between vocation and a hobby or something that I'm interested in. I mean, if I have specs, I can become a pilot in terms of I can just learn how to fly a plane. I may not get a job as a commercial pilot or
Yes.
join the Air Force. That's a different thing. So again, please don't limit yourself in a negative manner. Again, be realistic about your abilities and realistic about your aspirations and dreams, and ask for help. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, your mental health professionals, we're all there to help you achieve all your goals.
Yeah. Yes. Um, how important it is for our family and friends to understand that we are having these limitations, not exactly limitations, but how important it is for them to understand that we need to have realistic goals. People around us also need to understand that, don't they?
Of course, that's why it's very important for all of us whenever we do have a diagnosis, whether it's diabetes, whether it's depression,
Yeah.
that our people around us, our family members around us also know. Like, suppose if I have very bad diabetes and because of which my blood pressure goes down. So the people I work with on a daily basis, if they know that, okay, I'm diabetic, and if they see me lying down on the floor with sweating, they might want to give me some glucose or some sugary stuff so that they can save me. So that and if I have epilepsy for that matter, then people around me in my family know what to do if I have an epileptic attack then, isn't it? The same way, if I have depression, if my family knows and understands that, okay, I don't know what it is like to have depression, but I can see that this is difficult for somebody and for my loved one.
Yes.
And sometimes they might need that push that, you know what, I know you're putting only 2 items on your list, but I think you can achieve 4, because that's also important, right? Because if I'm underachieving achieving, that's a problem as well. If
Yes.
my family can help me, if my support groups, whether that's my friends or colleagues, if they can help me kind of achieve my goals, whether it's on a daily basis or it's a life goal, that's definitely easier for me, because I
Yes.
will, if I have an illness, I am going to require that assistance. And it's important for family to understand that, yeah, I will be disproportionately disappointed if I'm not achieving something because I have depression, and might kind of blame myself, and they might be then in a position to help me, to show me that, listen, you didn't get 10 out of 10, but you got 6 out of 10, which is an amazing thing as well. And see, even my list is not complete for today. So, and that may remind me that, oh, yes, I'm being too harsh on myself and I'm judging myself too much. And so family can definitely play an important role. And if I am getting snappy with them because I'm frustrated with my lack of progress, and if they understand that I'm just displacing, they won't take it personally. And that means that my relationship with them will also not spoil beyond a certain point. So again, family can and should play an important role. And if they don't understand something, and if they're not being able to communicate it about it with the patient, they should visit the psychologist, psychiatrist with the patient and ask, this is what happens when something like this happen. What are the words that I can use to express my support or to express what I'm feeling? So family cooperation, support group cooperation, it can make or break anybody's life, whether I have an illness or I don't have an illness. So again, with somebody with illness, it's very important for family to have an empathetic approach and a compassionate approach.
Yes, yes. True, I agree with you. The support of family and friends is so vital. The role of a caregiver in the family is vital for patients, mental health patients. Dr. Rukshida, it was a very interesting conversation with you, and it helped me a lot, and I'm sure it's going to help a lot of my viewers a lot. You spoke in an extremely insightful manner, and so thankful to you for coming on my show.
Thank you so much. It was entirely my pleasure. And I would be so happy that if this reached out to people and if it helped even 1% of the people watching us, I think our job here would be done.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for coming.